Hello, welcome back to our show. I am here with just Gio today. It's the OGs of Outlandish Claims back in business. Nobody else is here, but we got this because we're the brains of the operation, right, Gio?
Yeah, just don't tell them that.
No. But it did start with us. It started with you asking me. Let's not forget that.
No, it
Shout
didn't.
out to that time, what, 7 years ago? No, less than 7
No,
years ago.
like 2017, 2018-ish.
4 years ago, 3 or 4
Yeah.
years ago, yeah, when we started this. Fun times back then. We're older now. We've seen more. Seen
Yeah,
things
we have.
I've seen my predictions go straight to hell. So for Demetrius, who is not here, he actually got it pretty right. He predicted the Phillies would be swept. And aside from the Mets game that was postponed due to rain, the Phillies were swept by the Mets.
Yeah.
3 games, all to the Mets. Congratulations, Demetrius. Tatis is back. Mike predicted that he would get a home run in his first 2 at-bats. Did he?
He did. He went 1 for 6, but that one at bat was the home run, or one hit was the home run.
Mike on the nose. Yes,
So
buddy.
kudos to Mike. That was a very good prediction. I was very close because I said Trey Mancini would hit a grand slam this week. He hit 2 or 3 home runs. None of them were grand slams, but they were like 2 and 3 run shots respectively. So I'm just glad Trey Mancini's back from his stage 4 cancer and hit bombs.
On the last week, my secondary prediction was the Rays would take 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. They did that. We didn't find that out till after we had filmed, so shout out to me. I got that one right. Got that half of my right. And then Baltimore got their butts handed to them by Boston, so I was very wrong. And then Minnesota went on to get their butts handed to them by Boston. It's been a fun time for Boston. You know who it's not been a fun time for? And this is why I'm wearing a Reds jersey with this Toronto hat. You know who it's not been a fun time for? Is the New York Yankees. Let me just
God.
It's been a fun time to be a Blue Jay, though. Let me tell you. You know, I mean, it was good for the reveal. It was really good to do that to you, Gio.
You know what? I'm not even mad.
So, Gio, as we give our weekly outlooks and our look back at the week, the first thing I want to know is what stood out to you this week that either made you go yay or made you go boo? And keep in mind, one of our future topics will be the New York Yankees. So you can give us a preview if you want. Just don't get too into it. Save that for later.
Fair enough. I think I'll start with the good part first because I think we all know what I'm going to say for bad. A lot of these teams that are currently division leaders were not expected to be. I'm talking about Kansas City, Seattle, the Mets technically by half a game, Cincinnati, and the Giants are at least the same, in the same games behind the Padres for the NL West. So I'm liking that a lot of these teams we weren't expecting to be at the top of the divisions are currently in those spots 2 or 3 weeks in. It might change, of course, but it's good to see that. So the day, of course, is going to be the Yankees. I'm not going to say too much about it because I will save that rant for tomorrow. It's one thing to be one of the worst teams in baseball. It's another when you're supposed to be having championship expectations and you find different ways to lose every single day, especially to division rivals. That's all I'm going to say for this one.
7 out of their last 9 the Yankees have lost. That's what stands out to me. They are not just one of the worst. They are the worst in the AL. They have the worst record in the AL. That is a depressing statistic. The Yankees always start slow, but this is like you better be in the actual proverbial tail of the tortoise and the hare because otherwise you're looking to be Tampa Bay from 2006. I will say one of the things that stood out to me, Tampa, good for you, starting to figure stuff out, although bad side, you got swept by Texas. What the hell?
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Like, you're taking your anger out. Clearly, you are taking out your anger on the Yankees. You put up 8 runs and then 6 runs on them. 14 runs in a span of 2 games. Just like you did last time when you scored 14 runs in a span of 2 games. Just try not to lose that third one, okay? Although you are facing Garrett Cole, so it's not likely. And Ryan Yarbrough had a bad outing last time, so I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie to you, but Glasnow had it today. Good for you, buddy. Other than that, not much has stood out to me specifically. I do want to say that's good to see some pitchers doing some things that we wouldn't have expected. On the opposite side of the Corey Kluber spectrum, you have people like Taylor Widener. You have Ryan Weathers. You have Matt Shoemaker had a decent couple of games. And then, honestly, I want to shout out, as Gio did, I want to expand that to shout out the entire Kansas City staff. I mean, Miners had a solid-ish start, but Jacob Junis, Danny Duffy, really solid starts. And then also out in Seattle, one of the bright spots outside of Kyle Seager is Kendall Graveman in relief. So it's been an interesting couple of days, and I don't know how to even approach predictions because Michael Wacha had a one-hitter in 5 innings against the Yankees. Like, if it wasn't for his pitch count, he would have stayed in there. But we're going to look at the weekly outlook now and come up with some predictions, and hopefully we'll be right again.
Next week looks interesting because I want to look at the Dodgers and see what happens after this weekend series with San Diego. The first game of the series was pretty intense, to say the least. It felt like an actual NLCS matchup where even later in extra innings, Jorge Mateo and Dennis Santana almost had, exchanged fists after a late inning hit by pitch. So with that, and then Cody Bellinger having a hairline fracture in his left leg, I'm curious how the Dodgers are going to continue playing at this current pace because as of this recording, they are 12-2. I think they'll start to slowly lose a bit more because Kenley Jansen did blow the save recently for that game in the 9th inning. So I think the bullpen problem will start to become more of an issue this next week, and they'll blow at least 2 games within the next week or so off the bullpen alone.
They really should consider putting Price as the reliever. That's where he started. That's where he flourishes in the bullpen in the postseason. Price, and you want to ease him back in if taking the full shortened season off. I think it would be smart to have him as the reliever because he can loosen up his arm real well in those high leverage innings, get himself ready for being a starter again next year. So hopefully they figure that out the way Boston and Toronto kind of did during their postseason runs. Next week, a couple of things stand out to me. Tampa's going to be getting the division leaders, as you said, Kansas City Royals. I fully expect that to be a very hard-fought battle. It's going to be as split as it possibly can get with a 3-game set, I believe it is. 3 games only. Thursday. Yeah, it's only a 3-game set. But specifically, there is one matchup that I really like, and it's going to be Philadelphia and San Francisco. San Francisco has found a way to be relevant, and I'm not really sure who told them they could be, but they're doing it. So good on them. Okay, so I will say San Francisco have been a huge surprise. I do think DeSclafani will beat Eflin in a pitcher's duel. I still think it's going to be a pitcher's duel. It will be 2-1 when the starters are gone. And then Philly's going to end up winning because they have the better bullpen. And I'm predicting a series sweep for Philadelphia instead because they've got better hitters and it's not a pitcher's ballpark down in Philly.
No, it's not.
So that's where I'm going to go with that. Also, shout out to Aaron Sanchez pitching in San Francisco against Miami. He's played 1 game so far. I really hope he can get back to it. He started 1 game. He's played 2. I really hope he can get back to that 2014-15 look because, oh, my God, I love that Aaron Sanchez. I want that back.
Before the blisters, he was arguably one of the best up-and-coming pitchers in baseball. And it's crazy how much a small blister can impact a pitcher's not wind up, but more so their, velocity, ball movement, control.
Blisters are a pain, man. Him and Rich Hill, they just could not get past it. Hopefully this season will be good for both of them. That will do it for us today, though. We'll be back tomorrow with Gio's therapy session.
Help me.
He'll also be having a therapy session. He'll be having an in-spirit therapy session for Mike as well, who was not here. Because I guarantee you Mike has very similar thoughts about the Yankees that Gio has. We'll see you then.